Good evening, everyone. So let us go through Unit 5, the last unit of project management. Uh, this unit should not consume more of time because we've already covered 94 slides, and there are 104 slides altogether. So some 9 slides, 10 slides are only left. And the topics here, we have already covered most of them, and that is more of repetitive in nature. What this unit consists of is there are 3 topics in this unit: basic concept of project monitoring cycle, the planning, monitoring, and controlling cycle, the project control, purpose, and the types of control. So it's a easy and small unit. Let us finish it fast. Basic concept of project monitoring cycle. Project monitoring refers to the process of keeping track of all the project related metrics, including team performance and task duration, identifying potential problems, and taking corrective actions necessary to ensure that the project is within the scope, on budget, and meets the specified deadlines. So, monitoring is actually looking into all the possibilities of deviations and correcting it as soon as possible so that the project is within the scope, it is on budget, and it meets the specific deadlines. So that is what, and let me tell you, this is the most important part of project management, the project monitoring. It is very, very important. Unless and until you have good monitoring process, none of the projects can work, because then you will deviate out of your product. Maybe it will be project, maybe in scope or in budget or in timelines, you won't be able to make timelines. So very important part. Now, what is monitoring process? You collect the information, so you get the data about the current status of your project, then measure and compare with baseline plan, whatever standards you have set, you compare your data with that, highlight any deviation, make a projection based on current data, assess and replan, decide whether corrective actions are necessary. If so, plan, document, and take corrective actions. So, if there is any deviation and you think that there need to be some change which is to be made, then make those changes, replan it, reschedule things, and then start working. If you look into the cycle, it talks about the project monitoring cycle. You establish operational schedule. First of all, you make a schedule, you set your standards, measure and report progress. So you measure and report progress once the execution is started. Compare actual with the plan. Whatever you have actuals with the thing you planned, you compare them. Then you determine effect on completion. You determine whether this deviation, if there is any, and how what kind of effect that deviation would have on the completion of the project, and plan, implement corrective action. If there is any corrective action, then you plan it, implement it, and update operational schedule. So again, you're updating your operational schedule, and again you come over here, again you measure the report the progress, compare actual with the plan, determine effect on completion, plan, implement corrective action, update operational schedule. Now, monitoring and controlling activities, it involves tracking, reviewing, regulating project progress, includes status reporting, progress measurement, and forecasting. It includes reports on scope, schedule, cost, resources, quality, and risks. Controls project and project document changes. So, if there is any change, then documentation is to be done with relation to that change. Includes control of scope, schedule, cost, and risk. It is similar to this one. Formalizes acceptance of deliveries. So it does deliverables. So it formalizes the acceptance of deliverables. Deliverables means what is expected out of the project, and it makes sure that the whatever deliverables are there, whatever is to be given by the project, whatever is the outcome of the project, that is easily accepted by the client. Then record quality control results, implement risk treatment plans and action, and administer suppliers. So this is all about what project monitoring cycle of monitoring and controlling activities are. So these are project monitoring and controlling activities. Now let us go for The monitoring and controlling process, the planning, monitoring, and controlling cycle. If you look into the cycle, first you plan, then you execute the plan, then you monitor the plan, you review, you make sure that you compare your actuals with the whatever was planned, and if there is any deviation, you control it and you change it, and that's how it is. So here you plan, you monitor, then you review, and you control. You make sure that your actuals are meeting the standards. The monitoring and controlling process corresponds to the check act component. You're always checking in monitoring part. The initiating process starts the plan, do, act, check. Do, act, and check. Plan, first plan, then do, then act, and then check. So this is a cycle. First you plan, then you do, then you act, and then you check. It is the integrative nature of project management that requires that the monitoring and controlling process interact with every aspect of other process groups. So that is why I said in the beginning that monitoring and controlling process is the most important process in project, because it is omnipresent in project. It has relation with all other process in project. You take action to control the project, measure performance, determine if they warrant a change request, influence the factors that cause changes, request changes, perform integrated change control, approve or reject changes, inform stakeholders of approved changes, manage configuration, create forecasts, gain acceptance from customer, performance quality control, report on project performance, perform risk audit, manage reserves, and administer procurement. So these are the things which, these are the steps, these are the ingredients of a planning, a monitoring, and controlling cycle. It all consists of this a cycle: plan, monitor, review, and then control. Now, project control is that element of the project that keeps it on track, on time, and within the budget. It refers to the project of comparing actual with the standard to identify the deviation and take corrective action, ensuring that the project is executed as per the plan. Now, project control contains four major areas: planning, cost management and control, then cost estimation, and then cost and schedule risk analysis. If you look into this cycle project control system, then how it works is you estimate, then you make budget, then earned value management system. So you make this as whatever value you have earned, then you control the cost, you make schedule and performance measurement baseline. So you make the performance measurement baseline. So that is project control system. If you look into this part of the slide, it says initiate, plan, execute, control, and close. This is a project life cycle, and at various stages how you control is through audit progress, measure performance, and manage variables. This is how the whole project life cycle works. So project control, it is an element of the project that keeps it on track, on time, and within budget. So what we do here is control always means setting a standard, comparing actual with the standard, finding out the deviations, and taking corrective actions. So this is the basic process. The first one is setting standards and measuring actuals. Second one, then third one is comparing your actual with the standard. Fourth one is identifying the deviations. Fifth one is taking corrective actions required for those deviations. So this is the 5-step process. Now, effective control process, how a control process can be effective. First of all, it should be accurate. These are the characteristics of an effective control system. What are the major characteristics which an effective control system should have, should possess? First one, it should be accuracy. Then timelines, it should meet the timelines. Economy, it should not be expensive. Flexible, it should not be rigid. Understandability, it should be easy to understand. Reasonable criteria should be used. It should not be something like rocket science where you have to take another help. There should be reasonable criteria. Your control system should follow the logic. Then strategic placements, whatever placements you have, whatever things you have, then you can make strategic placements of them. Then emphasis on exception. Yeah, the control system should always emphasize on the exceptions. Exceptions means something which is not meeting the standard. It may be above the standard or it may be below the standards. If something is above standard, then we'll have to understand how that is above standard, and have to try to understand. We'll have to try to implement something which can make things above standard always. And if something is below standard, then we'll have to take corrective actions. Now here, multiple criterias. It should not be based on a unique criteria. Only one criteria should not be used. There has to be multiple criterias so that control system can become diverse. Now, corrective action. It should take corrective actions. Otherwise, it is not possible to correct things, and ultimately, it will lead to the failure of the project. Purpose and importance of control, why we control: improving employee motivation, ensure order and discipline, facilitates coordination in action, helps in improving the performance, helps in minimizing the errors, helps in achieving organizational goals, judging of accuracy of standards, making efficient use of resources. So these are some of the things which we've already covered, and these are the importance of controlling. Controlling helps in improving motivation, it ensures order and discipline, it facilitates coordination and action, it helps in improving the performance, it helps in minimizing the errors, it helps in achieving organizational goals, it helps in judging of accuracy of standards, and it helps in making efficient use of resources. Now, types of control, if you look into this, there are majorly three types of control. At input stage, we have feed forward control, where we anticipate problem before they occur. In conversion stage, we have concurrent control, where we manage problems as they occur. And output stage is feedback control, where we manage problems after they have arisen. These three types of control can also be called as preventive control, which is also similar to feed forward control. Detective control is similar to concurrent control, and corrective control, which is similar to feedback control. There are some other miscellaneous types of control. We have budgetary control, which is control on the basis of budget. We have made a financial plan, we have made the standard costing. We've already discussed about standard costing in the first year, first sem. Standard costing is when you compare your actual costing with the standard cost which you fixed, the plan which you made. Then financial ratio analysis, internal audit, break even analysis, statistical control. We've already discussed these things when we were discussing about bar charts, standard deviations, variance, mean, median, mode. Then cybernetic control is communication control. You can control through communication, go or no go control, whether you want to go with the project or you don't want to go with the project further. That is no go or go control. Post performance control, once you performed and then you are controlling, then that is post performance control. This is similar to feedback control. And post performance control is mainly post mortem activity. You've already performed your activity and now you are making a control. So that may be a lesson for future projects, but that project, for that particular project in which the control is done, that will not be useful. Quality control, risk go about. So it's very important to control the risk, and so it forms part of the control. The document control, the flow of the documents is very important. Whatever we do, whatever are the practices we follow, the documentation of those activities are very important. Then design control, design control. So you make your product according to the design you made, and if there's deviation from the design, the actual is deviating from the design, then you take corrective action. And change control, whenever a change is introduced in an organization, then it is very important to control a change in a proper direction. Otherwise it may lead to chaos. And so here we have next slide is 10 project management knowledge areas. If you look into this part, this is nothing but project management life cycle, project initiation, planning, execution, controlling and monitoring, and project closing. And here we have knowledge areas, which means what are the knowledge areas where a project manager should have knowledge to run project management in a proper manner, to execute project management in a proper manner. First one is project integration management. When Especially when the project consists of various activities, then it is very important to integrate the project and make it one to coordinate the project. And project scope management, it is very important that the project remains within the scope was decided, and it does not go beyond the scope, or it does not remain less than the scope it was decided. Time management, cost management, quality management, human resource management, communications management. Communication is the key of management. If you communicate well, you won't face any problem in any organization. Risk management, procurement management, it is very important to have your raw materials, your uh, product, your inputs in the proper time. And then you have project stakeholder management. You should be able to manage all the stakeholders, whether they are debtors, creditors, shareholders. And that is these are some of the knowledge areas where a project manager should be well versed to manage a project well. Thank you. So with this we come to end of the project management. Thank you for the time. I hope you enjoy this session. Thank you.